All right, let's talk about something that so many of us struggle with. We're going to get into why that relentless drive for perfection can, paradoxically, lead to getting absolutely nothing done.
And of course, the more you put things off, the worse you feel, right? I mean, if this sounds even a little bit familiar, I want you to know you are so not alone. It's this incredibly frustrating trap, and it catches everyone. Students, professionals, you name it. Even super successful people get stuck here.
So what is this thing? Well, it has a name, the procrastination perfectionism loop. It works like this. Your perfectionism sets the bar impossibly high. And then your brain, trying to protect you from the sheer terror of not meeting that standard, hits the emergency brake, and that's procrastination. But here's the kicker. It doesn't actually protect you. It just leaves you completely stuck, paralyzed.
Okay, so if we're going to break free from this thing, we've got to look under the hood, you know? We need to understand what's actually happening in our minds that keeps this whole self-defeating cycle going round and round.
And really, it's how all these things feed off each other that's so powerful. Think of it like a domino effect. It might start with that all-or-nothing mindset. You know, either it's a perfect success or a total failure. That's fueled by a massive fear of failing, which then makes you hypervigilant, constantly on the lookout for any tiny mistake. And that leads to total decision paralysis because you're terrified of choosing the wrong path. And what's holding all of this up? So often, it's a feeling of low self-worth, this deep-seated belief that I am only as good as my last achievement. It's a lot. And this quote from Dr. Neil Fiore, it's just so important. It really gets to the heart of it. Let me say this again. Procrastination is not laziness. It is not a character flaw. It's a coping mechanism. It's your brain's clumsy, well-intentioned attempt to shield you from the stress and anxiety that perfectionism cooks up. So the big takeaway here is this. You can't just bully yourself into working harder. To beat procrastination, you have to deal with the anxiety first. And where does a lot of that anxiety come from? Well, often, it's shame. The researcher Dr. Brené Brown draws such a critical line between guilt and shame. See, guilt is I did something bad. It's about a behavior, and that's useful. It can actually push us to do better next time. But shame is different. Shame says I am bad. It's not about what you did, it's about who you are. It attacks your core self, and it just eats away at your belief that you can ever change. And so much of perfectionism is tangled up in that really painful, corrosive feeling of shame.
All right, that was the heavy part. We get the problem now, right? So let's talk solutions. How do we actually break this thing? Let's get into some real actionable strategies you can literally start using today to get out of this loop.
Think of these 4 steps as your new go-to toolkit. First up, set realistic goals. Instead of staring at a giant mountain of a project, break it down into tiny, doable steps. Seriously, the smaller the better. Each little checkmark builds momentum. Next, and this one's from Dr. Neil Fiore, you've got to shift your language. Stop saying, I have to do this. It's so heavy. Try asking, when can I start? See how that feels? It changes it from a dreaded task into a choice. Number 3, schedule guilt-free play. And I mean schedule it. This is non-negotiable. It's not a reward, it's a requirement. It proves to your brain that your whole life isn't just about work. And finally, you got to reframe how you see mistakes. They aren't failures, they're not proof that you're bad, they're just feedback. That's it. Data.
This right here, this is the whole game. It's the mental shift we're all aiming for. Dr. Brené Brown lays it out so clearly. The perfectionist mindset is all about other people. It's constantly whispering, what will they think of me? The goal is just to perform, to please, to look perfect. And the results? You're frozen, paralyzed by anxiety. But the producer mindset? That's all about you. It asks, how can I get better? The goal isn't to be perfect. It's just to start, keep going, and learn along the way. And what comes from that? Actual progress, resilience, and that amazing feeling of getting something done.
So how do we make that huge leap from perfectionist to producer? Well, there's one key ingredient. It's the foundation for everything else, and it's totally non-negotiable. It's self-compassion. This is the only way we can finally turn down the volume on that harsh inner critic. I love this quote from Brené Brown because it flips the script on what we think self-compassion is. It's not about being weak or letting yourself off the hook. It's about courage. Being kind to yourself, especially when you're struggling or feel like you failed, that isn't soft. That is the bravest, most difficult work you will ever do. And it's not some abstract, fuzzy concept either. Researcher Dr. Kristen Neff breaks it down into 3 really practical parts. First, self-kindness. Simple, right? Just talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend you really care about. Would you ever say those harsh things to them?
No way. Second, common humanity. This is about remembering that you are not the only one. Messing up, struggling, feeling imperfect, that's part of being human. It connects us. And third, mindfulness. This is about just noticing your negative thoughts without letting them become your reality. You can watch them float by like clouds instead of getting caught in the storm.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together into a new way forward. Because the way out of this trap isn't to just try even harder to be perfect. No, it's about changing the goal entirely.
And this is everything. This is the big idea I want you to walk away with. Give yourself permission. Permission to be messy, permission to make mistakes, permission to be a work in progress. Because the real goal is just to show up and be perfectly, wonderfully, imperfectly human. That is where the magic happens. That's where you'll find real growth and real accomplishment.
Now, if you want to keep going with this, and I really hope you do, we've put together some amazing resources for you. It's all in a PDF you can check out. We've got the books we've talked about, like The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown and The Now Habit by Neil Fiore, plus some great workbooks with practical exercises, and even the research articles if you want to geek out on the science behind it all.
And hey, if you're interested in more topics like this, and you found this explainer helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe share it with a friend who might need to hear this too. Thanks so much for being here.